I'm a sought-after leadership facilitator and coach. Networking for results and how to tell your story are two of his signature programs. So that is the great introduction of Neeraja Ganesh. So you can start your presentation. Good luck, and we can see your PowerPoint presentation on the screen.
Thank you. Sound check. Is it all good?
Yes. Okay.
Thank you so much. Life doesn't always present you with the perfect opportunity at the perfect time, said Susan Diane Wojcicki, former CEO of YouTube. She said, opportunities come when you least expect them or when you're not ready for them. Rarely are opportunities presented to you in the perfect way, in a nice little box with a yellow bow on top. Opportunities, the good ones, they are messy and confusing and hard to recognize. They are risky. They challenge you. This morning, I had a WhatsApp message from someone, so I'm part of many WhatsApp groups. I'm known as a networking queen, so obviously I'm part of a lot of networking groups on LinkedIn, on WhatsApp, and she must have found my number from one of those WhatsApp groups, and she messaged me and she said, so I think I'd also met her in person in one of the events, and she had come to listen to me in one of the events. So she said, she introduced herself and she said, I would like to connect with you when you have some time to talk. Now, I get many messages like this on WhatsApp, on LinkedIn, because I have a large network, I have a good brand presence, and I'm known to be someone who helps. But then there's only a limited number of people with whom I can speak, right? So I try and kind of get people to tell me what their challenges or issues are, how I can help on the conversation on chat and try and help them out. So I said, okay, what is it that I can help you with? So she said, I'm looking out for a job and I wanted to talk to you. I heard you at another event last week. Now I said, so how can I help you? Because I was thinking to myself, I'm not running a recruitment agency. She said, can we talk? So when she said this, I said, okay, I think she really wants to talk to me. And also because I was waiting at a dentist, clinic, because my mother was having her appointment going. So I said, okay, call me. And she said, long story short, let me quickly tell what was the issue. So she is a very senior leader, about 23 years of experience in technology. And she quit her job in January because of an organization restructure that happened. She took some time off, and now she wants to get back. She is a single mother. Her husband passed away a few years ago. She's got two daughters. The eldest daughter is wanting to go and learn to be a pilot. It's going to be a very expensive course. The second one is a teenager. She's really looking to get back to a job. She has not networked at all in all these years. And of course, the thought leadership that one would like to see of any candidate, especially on LinkedIn, she's not really done much. That all the posts that she has done is from her previous organization. Now, this is not a unique story. I hear this so many times through the year. It's across age groups, across genders, across experience levels. And here is where I would like to talk about how one can navigate opportunities very differently. In fact, I tweaked my presentation a bit this afternoon after I heard her. So I want to talk about my own story, because what did not come out in my introduction was my 25 years of a technology career that I had. And then I quit one day without a job. And how did I navigate this scene? And I am where I am today. And I thought, just kind of give you some food for thought in terms of how do you get opportunities, especially different kinds of opportunities. So in 2016, I was working at this organization who asked me to put out a recommendation to hire women on a career break. And, today at least we have heard of this term. There are a lot of platforms that exist to help women who've taken a career break and restart their careers. However, then it was a very new concept. So I did some research and I realized there are some platforms I got onto that platform to do my research and I put out a recommendation. Now, because I was on that platform, I got invited to a conference, something like this, but this was an in-person conference in Bangalore, in India, for women on a career break. It was on a Saturday, a full day conference, and I'm talking about many years ago, 2016, when I had a much younger family that I had to care for, a lot of stuff that I would have to do on Saturday. But I still chose to attend that conference, despite my husband saying, "Hey, why do you want to spend a Saturday there? Because you're not on a career break, you're not going to take a career break." But I said, let me go there. And that really changed something for me. Uh, this is me at that conference, sitting and talking to some of the women who were on a career break. And what actually happened there was the stories of those women, when they narrated, how difficult it was for them to even get to an interview. And if they got to an interview, then the kinds of questions that they were asked, as they had done a crime by taking a career break. And those breaks were obviously, for caring for their family, for their newborn child, or maybe they were a trailing spouse because their spouse had traveled outside, or, just caring for themselves. And I kind of thought in my mind that I'm going to do something about this. Now, what could I do? I had no clue. Of course, I could take some of the resumes of these women and pass it into my organization because we were anyway looking to hire some women on a break, but I really wanted to do something. So now you may think that, those of you who believe in the universe and manifestation, it may be because of that, but then we also know it's technology. When you are, following a particular social media account, I was following this particular platform because they were looking to help women on a career break. Your feed starts getting posts from other similar platforms. So there was another platform called as Jobs for Her, who had put out a social media post saying, "We are looking for ambassadors." Now, ambassadors, as the term suggests, are people who would promote, who would talk about this platform, and obviously they were doing the right thing. So, if a woman who was on a career break was part of this platform and had found it very useful because this platform was helping them reskill, was helping them find opportunities, was also writing a lot of content about women who had taken a break and then eventually found jobs which inspire other women, then obviously they wanted this particular thing to be shared. So I put up my hand and I said, I'll be an ambassador. I was not on a break, but I just wanted to do something. So I said, I'll be an ambassador. Now, what happened because of this was I got put into a WhatsApp group of all other women who had taken a career break, and there used to be daily conversations on that group. Women saying, "Oh, I attended this interview, it didn't go well. How do I prepare for this interview?" Now, what I did was I used to message them one on one and try and guide them. So I suddenly, people started looking up at me as a guide, a mentor of sorts. And, I was also, I told you I was an ambassador. And I got awarded as one of the top ambassadors by this, company, Jobs for Her. Slowly, they realized the need to formalize this interaction, right? I mean, this is very informal. You're on a WhatsApp group. If you feel like that you help, they said, let's formalize this. And they started a mentoring platform. And I got invited to be one of the first few mentors on the platform. And they used to host a lot of mentoring roadshows where they would invite women to come. This is a picture of many other mentors in one of the cities in India, in Pune. We went and we spoke to a lot of mentees and guided them. As we were nearing mid of 2017, my family that had supported me throughout my career, my technology career that I was saying, all of this I was doing by the side, there was a lot of medical exigency that came. So I chose to take a few weeks off to help out at home. But I also decided that while I was going to be at home caring for people, I would step out every day for a couple of hours to, kind of do some activities which will keep me going. And at the same time, I wasn't very sure whether I would go back into my corporate setup because I was trying to negotiate for a role which wouldn't have the kind of travel that I had then. I'm talking 2017, pre-COVID. So then we didn't have platforms like this where we could so virtually, do our work. So I started going to Jobs for Her and volunteering there because they were going to run their first conference for women of career. And I said, I'll help out in whichever way I can. And through that, the conference was hosted in the month of September, just around the time when I had to wrap up my leave and go back to my organization. And they also asked me to moderate a panel discussion at that conference. As you can see, I'm doing that. Probably one of my first, outside of my organization kind of appearances on stage. And my company called me back and said, we've given you enough leave. We can't find you a role without any travel. You will have to come back and pick up whatever is available. And I decided to quit. I didn't have another job. All I did was a lot of volunteering, a lot of, work that I did because of the passion that I had. But what also happened along with that was I quit my job. But Jobs for Her had seen me so passionate about helping women on a career break, starting from being an ambassador to a mentor, to coming and hosting this panel discussion. They were going to start a not-for-profit foundation. And Neha Bagaria, the founder, asked me if I would head this foundation. An opportunity just presented. It just presented because of the passion that I had. And it was a paid opportunity. Of course, it wouldn't pay me the corporate salary, but definitely was paying me good money for me to pick it up as a full-time job. This is one of the ways people can start looking at it differently. How do you find opportunities? Now, let me narrate another story. Just around the time when I told you I took those 3 months off, it wasn't intended to be 3 months. It started with 6 weeks to help my mother. Then my husband fell ill, so I extended it and it eventually went for 3 months. There was another, organization, a startup this time, who were into design thinking. And I'm talking 2017 when design thinking was not so fashionable and so well known. Today, of course, most of us understand what it is. And they were going to run a conference in the next couple of months to educate people on design thinking. It was going to be a 3-day conference, and about 150 people who would participate. Now, why do you need 3 days to learn design thinking? So they were not going to do a very theoretical kind of a session. It was going to be a very hands-on session. So what are the concepts they were going to teach? They were going to make all the 150 participants actually implement it in those 3 days. So pick up a problem statement and go through all the methodologies, the steps in design thinking, starting from talking to stakeholders, doing the research, etc. So now their funda was this. They said that there will be a facilitator who's going to tell the theory, but how can 150 people just immediately implement it? They will need some help at the table. So they created groups of about 10 people each, so 15 such tables. And they said we'll put moderators at every table who are experts on design thinking and will sit with this group through the 3 days and help them implement the concepts. So they were looking for volunteers for this. So I put up my hand. Again, I was not an expert in design thinking. So what they did was all these volunteers, some of us not experts, some of them were experts, but they wanted a refresher. They made us come a few Sundays before the conference to their office. And they taught us. So you can see there I'm sitting with a group of volunteers trying to learn. They taught us exactly what they were going to be teaching at the conference so that we can go and help those attendees. And there you see that placard which was put on the table, where I was moderating. And it was a fantastic 3-day session. And after that, also timing was the same, same timing of September 2017 when I was helping Jobs for Her, September 2017 when I was helping Pensar, and then I quit. my corporate job, right? So they asked me whether I would come as a consultant and help them with some of the projects. I could not believe it because you see, I had a 25-year corporate career in technology and nothing about my past life, those 25 years was design thinking. And a startup world is very, very different to a monolithic, large enterprise. Here was an opportunity that they were giving me. And I said, yes, why not? And here is another picture. This is, it's a startup. So there were about 10, 15 of us. Well, we did a lot of travel. We went on picnics. And of course, we also did a lot of good work in the office. And here I want to talk about what led me to get to this opportunity. Volunteering is one of the things that I would really urge people to look at. And when I say volunteering, it doesn't necessarily mean, okay, fine, I go to an NGO, I go to an old age home. I mean, those things are good. If you wish to, you should do it. But today, there are a lot of organizations that open up roles on a volunteer basis. Largely startups because they don't have those kinds of funds to really get experienced people on board. So they say, could you come and volunteer? And that's an opportunity for many of us to do something, by the side, to kind of contribute. And even if we are really looking for a paid job. Now, in this case, some of the examples that I narrated, I was doing it along with a paid job, and then I quit and then I did some of these things. But my advice to people who are looking for a job, yeah, you will keep applying. It will take 1 month, 2 months, 4 months to get to the job. But how about, along with applying for the job, you start volunteering in some startups and some not-for-profits? One, you're going to be engaged. Two, you're going to be learning some new skills. Three, you're going to be contributing. And for all you know, it may really turn your career trajectory because you may love that. And they may then hire you, like they did for me, both jobs for the foundation opportunity as well as consulting gig that came my way. And this is what I also told the lady that I spoke to this morning, that while you're applying for the job, why don't you look for certain things to volunteer? The other piece of advice that I would like to give to people is that don't wait for something big, to happen in your life. Oh, when I'm 20 years of experience, or, when maybe, I suddenly decide to take a break, I will start doing these things. Do them along with what you are doing today, because today, it's a world where you can really pick up many, many gigs, paid, unpaid. So your passion and your interest to volunteer, if you can keep doing it along with whatever paid job you are doing today or an entrepreneurship that you're doing today, for all you know, it may turn into a fantastic opportunity, or when things are going bad, you have something that you can turn to. Now, the last story for today. Now, when I was heading the Jobs Foundation, when I just gotten into it, I already told you I'm part of many, many WhatsApp. So I was on this women's entrepreneurship WhatsApp group, and I saw a lady, her name is Saras, message on the group saying that this is again 2018. They were going to host a Women's Day event. And at that event, in-person event, there's going to be a lot of space for entrepreneurs to put stalls to showcase their products, their services, etc. And they said, anybody interested, get in touch with me. Now, this sounded very interesting to me because we had just then started a not-for-profit foundation. We thought, okay, there'll be a lot of women who will come to this event. If we put a stall where we talk about what our not-for-profit is going to be doing, it will probably interest the women, some of them to join our community, etc. So I messaged her and I said, can we talk? And we got onto a office the next day. And we spoke a lot about, venues to collaborate. And then she went back saying, okay, let's take the next steps. The following day, she messaged me. And she said, Nirja, would you come as a speaker to our event? I was so shocked. Like, because I had never done public speaking before that. I've done 25 years of corporate career, and I've spoken within the organization. Nobody knew me. I myself didn't think I was, a speaker. And here is she, on the basis of what could she so confidently invite me to a speaker? Well, she said that. I said, sure, I will do it. And that's kind of the, promotions that happened. Me and another three very inspiring leaders spoke at this event. And that was after the panel discussion that I spoke about. This was one of my solo appearances on public stages. Now, the other aspect of networking that I tell people is, yes, I've connected with Saras. I've connected with so many people. But it's important for you to nurture these connections. Okay, fine, she came, she gave me an opportunity. I spoke at her event, not forget her. If that's the way you're going to be, then it's not really useful. The network is not really useful. Like, for example, even at this conference, I've connected with so many speakers, over LinkedIn, and I've kind of, got their numbers. We connected on WhatsApp. Now, until I nurture these connections, yeah, it's just, one time you would have a conversation and nothing will happen after it. So we've stayed connected, Saras and I, and over the years, this was 2018, I told you, in 2022, she messaged me again. And she said, Nirja, I got invited to speak at a TEDx event. I'm sure all of you heard of TED at TEDx. And they are looking for another speaker, and I wish to refer you. Would you like to come? Now, nowhere in my head had I ever thought about speaking at a TEDx event. It's the most prestigious stage. Those of us who are public speakers will know that's the most prestigious stage that you can speak on. But I never ever given it a thought. And here was the opportunity for me to speak at TEDx. And I said, yes, of course I will. And there I was speaking on the red dot at this TEDx JPS Radhi stage. How did this opportunity come by? And I am talking about conversations. It was a simple conversation with Saras over WhatsApp, and then she came and we continued our conversation and we stayed in touch. And it eventually, I don't even know whether we put up a stall at her event. I don't know whether we collaborated as an organization, but look at where it took me. It took me to the TEDx stage. And that's why I have named today's presentation as treat every interaction as an opportunity. It could be following your passion. As I said, my passion to help women on a career break got me to head the Jobs for Her Foundation. It could be volunteering, which I moderated, the design thinking workshops, and it got me a consulting assignment at the startup. It could be simple conversations, which eventually got me to the TEDx stage. So, in closing, I would like to, remind all of you about what Sheryl Sandberg, ex-CEO of Meta and Facebook, said. If you are offered a seat on a rocket ship, do not ask what seat. So I said, I'll be an ambassador. I don't know where this is going to take me. I went on a rocket ship. Most of us want to look at, what is it going to give me? How big is it? I'm so senior. I'm doing such a small job. They're asking me to do this. None of that. There's an opportunity. You're asked to be on a rocket ship, whatever that is. Get onto the rocket ship. After that, you can, change seats. You can try to learn how to, kind of propel the ship ahead, or say this is what I want to contribute and how I can contribute. First, get on. Grab every opportunity that comes your way. Thank you, and that's all that I have for today. I'm happy to stay connected with you on LinkedIn. That's my LinkedIn URL and code, and I believe I have some time now, and I can take questions if there are any. Melinda, are there questions? I don't know if I can look at my own chat and see if there are.
Thank you so much, Neeraja Ganesh. I think you have a natural way of connecting with the people. It's like you have natural ability to connect with your audience. So thank you so much for that. And we do have a question from our audience. So here is the question. So what unexpected challenges you have faced while facilitating networking at global conferences, and how they shape your approach to leadership development?
Okay, so what challenges have I faced during networking at global conferences? Is that the question?
Yes.
Okay, some of the challenges could be that people are not receptive. I mean, you may want to go and talk to someone and you are approaching them. You know, traditionally we used to give business cards when we used to network. Today, nobody carries business cards. It's a LinkedIn, or a digital card. But I remember having gone to a conference and I was trying to give my business cards and tell them who I am. And there were some people who didn't even take my card, okay, and some people who just walked away from me. And it was a bit depressing, but it was okay. And I'll tell you the story. It was a conference for women entrepreneurs, right? My first time to such an event, and they were all very, very well-known entrepreneurs, venture capitalists, funding houses, etc. So people didn't know me, they didn't care about me. I was a bit depressed. But at that time, I was heading the Jobs for Her Foundation. So because I was heading the Jobs for Her Foundation, I got another invite later for a smaller closed door roundtable conversation. I went in there. And because it was a smaller group, I got an opportunity to speak. And I saw that the same people who did not take my business card came to me and said, "Hey, can I give you my card?" And
That's
people started
wonderful.
connecting with me on LinkedIn. And after a few months, I appear on a lot of podcasts and all of that. I appeared on a particular podcast. And I think the founder of that particular group, she heard my podcast and she invited me to become a co-founder. Yeah. So what I would say is, even if people are not talking to you well in the first time, it's okay. Don't get depressed. You keep at it. Be very genuine about what is the value that you can offer. The minute people see that you can offer value, they will want to network with
Yes, that's really a big achievement,
you.
Neeraja.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for joining this Global Virtual Summit and introducing our speaker session as well, and sharing your valuable presentation as a leadership coach, mentor, and everything. So there is a list, if I say. Uh, so yes, please do join other speaker sessions.
I'll do that. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, and bye now.
Bye.